Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unknown Games podcast. This week we've got a bonus cast for you. Bonus cast! I love that voice. We got a bonus cast for you. It's an awesome show. We've got a friend of the show back, and we're talking some Valorant because he's been in the Valorant beta. He's been in the alpha and now the beta. So he's played a good amount of Valorant, and we know everyone's excited to hear more about that game. We've also got a little bit more of Doom because he's finished up Doom, plus team fight tactics. Like, this is like the PC gamers edition of the cast. And not only that, we go in depth about the PS5 because dude knows his stuff. Yeah, he's an engineer, and well, he understands more things better than, unfortunately, I do. But it's a good thing because that gives us all better understanding and how cool the PS5 is. I actually walked away from this podcast going, you know what? I actually understood more of what it was supposed to be telling me on that GDC conference. Anyways, everyone, we hope that you'll understand more. And the DualSense controller, we talk about how awesome it is. It's pretty awesome. And some of the features, we go in depth on that. And finally, we finish up with some anime, because why not? Who hate anime? I love anime. We love heart anime. Okay, maybe not that. Okay, we do. We talking old anime like Macross and some stuff from this season and things that we're looking forward to. So we hope that you'll enjoy the podcast. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at UGP_cast. And yeah, you can leave us a voicemail. I always ask everyone, hey, tell your friends and family and everything else on the list about us. But, we really want to hear from you as well. We hope you're enjoying the show. You can find us on anchor.fm. And we have a voice message button that you can press. You can just leave us a message and let us know what you think. Also, finally, I want to say this is a long episode, so feel free to take a break anytime, in the middle, before the middle, whenever you want to. I'm indulging this opening itself, but even the actual opening song, which I think is pretty good. I switched it up because it's a bonus episode, is pretty hype. So we hope that you enjoy it. Once again, thank you all for tuning in. You're amazing. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll catch you next time after this one for episode 30. Woo! Okay. Enjoy the show, everyone. Hey everyone, welcome to a bonus episode of the Unknown Games podcast. Bonus. And I'm joined this time once again by my good friend Anthony, which you may remember on one of our highest listened to episodes of all time.
Was it really?
Actually, it was just titled like Bonus Cast PS5 and Blizzard News. Yeah, it was like one of the first episodes that I was like,
I guess we did talk about the PS5. That's probably why.
So it was,
or maybe I'm just that popular. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you've got the genes. So yeah, I don't know. Introduce yourself for the wonderful folks that don't know you.
Hi everybody. I'm Anthony, a longtime friend of Adrian's, and yeah, love to talk about games and anime and all that sort of stuff. So it's good to be here again.
Yeah, there we go. And just this is the Unknown Games podcast. Wow. And yeah, we talk about Japanese games, video games in general, our life here in Japan. I'm in Japan. Anthony is in the wonderful United States. So
yes.
So we've got cultural differences, views. I don't know. I'm still using fax over here. At least some people really are. It's still a thing. I'm not lying. Fax.
Like
legit.
Fax?
No, like fax in your home, like fax.
Oh, fax, FAX. Oh,
yeah. I mean, is GameFAQs?
No.
Is Game FAQs even around anymore? Did they?
I mean, I would say both GameFAQs and AFAQs are about like equal levels of use nowadays. So
it's like equal. Yeah, they're about equal. So yeah. So this is a bonus episode, and we're really happy to have Anthony here on the show. Alex is off playing Final Fantasy VII. He gave his life away to the cause. for all of
Good
us.
for him. I will have to jump into that hole eventually.
Yeah, see, we avoided the peer pressure. We avoided all of
Hmm.
the you got to buy it day one launch. Everybody, we're out of that peer pressure. We're in our own world now, and
I'm waiting for those patches.
the patches. Yeah, hopefully they get to that soon. But today we're going to be running over some cool topics, some hot topics. That's what we call hot topics because we've got Valorant that we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk a little bit more about Doom Eternal because we've only got Alex playing it now. We got Anthony playing, so it's a good.
That's
They
right.
both finished the game too, so it's a good sense of how it is on different difficulties because Alex actually played on I think the what's I keep calling it Insanity, but Nightmare I think is what it's called.
Which there's Nightmare and there's Ultra Nightmare or whatever.
He played on
Like
Nightmare. Yeah.
Nightmare. Okay, so he
Okay.
actually played in the harder difficulty than I did then.
So we've got we can kind of compare that a little bit, and then we've got news. Of course, the DualSense was unveiled. The not the DualShock 4, but the DualSense new PS5 controller. It has been unveiled, and I don't know. We're going to talk a little about that, and then finally we're going to close up with some anime because we don't talk about anime enough.
Can never talk about anime enough. There's always so much more to talk about.
There's always more anime in the world. It's never ending. It's never ending. So we're gonna jump on into the games that we're playing with Valorant. So I gotta say, honestly, Anthony, Valorant. I've been trying to get into this game. I've been looking at the closed beta on Twitch, and like it's insane. Like I mean, like at almost any given time, there's anywhere between 600,000 to 1.23 million people watching this game. Whether that's just to get the drops to get into the beta,
I'm
which who knows?
Yeah, I'm
But
pretty sure that's mostly to get the drops, but also everybody wants to see the new Riot game, right? This is the first
mm,
full standalone game that Riot has released since League of Legends. I
right,
mean,
and
there's TFT, and that's cool and all, but that's
but
that's
that's still
still
that's
first of all,
that's firstly done by Riot, and this is actually done by a different studio outside of Riot, part of the Forge initiative. I think it's Riot
yeah.
Forge, right?
Well, is it? I'm not sure. Is this still an LA like a Santa Monica team? I think, or is it not? I don't
It's a
know.
good question because like it's not like under Riot specifically, like as a developer, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
In fact, I
Uh,
actually know this for a fact. It is LA. Now they might have gotten a separate team and brought them into the Santa
mm-hmm.
Monica studio, but the Redwood studio is the only other studio that's actually developing a game.
Okay, okay,
Um, so yeah, it's definitely at LA and all that stuff. So still core right, but obviously a completely separate team.
right.
One of their R&D teams.
I know there's
Um,
some former Counter Strike Pro players that are on the team too that have kind of
yeah,
helped with it. And I guess the
and
premise what Valorant is, it's essentially like a hero Counter Strike shooter, hero
yes,
based Counter
and
Strike shooter,
a lot of people, and I like you saying specifically hero-based Counter-Strike shooter because a lot of people have been comparing it, basically saying it's Counter-Strike and Overwatch combined,
which
and
it
it is not.
isn't. It isn't.
It is not at
And
all.
like when you look at the gameplay, I think there's two things you have to really know about Valorant. So first of all, it is like Counter Strike in the sense that you are
Yeah,
either planting a what is it called? It's not a bomb. It's essentially a
the
bomb, but
spike,
the spike. You're planting the spike or defusing the spike. There's no like counter terrorist thing, but it's the same
right?
theme, right? The map is pretty. I like the map design because there's a lot of different alleyways and corridors,
Yeah,
and it
especially
allows you
the
to.
new one too. Yeah, the new map with God, I don't even know how to describe it uniquely, but the new one has like all these like tunnels and ropes you can go up on top, and it's actually really cool with all the different routes you can go.
And I gotta say, like what I've enjoyed seeing so far is just the way that pre-game people will go certain routes, and it's not like an entire
Hmm.
team is going. Like Counter Strike, you have like an entire team going a certain way sometimes, whereas this way,
Right.
a lot of people are splitting up, and where you have to really clarify on the abilities is that these, in the way I like to think of them, the heroes do have abilities. Some of them you have to, I think, you have to buy them after you use them, like. You have to
Right.
continuously keep them in stock. But the main difference is Overwatch, you can use an ability anytime, and it's mainly on a player. It's mainly you are using this ability as an offensive or defensive way against a player, like to deal damage against
It,
them or whatever. But like, I feel like the abilities in Valorant, I'm using them to mainly as a strategic way of cutting things off or hindering people. Maybe if I get some damage, that's fine in the process, but that's not the primary objective of why I'm using an ability. Does
exactly.
that
In
make
fact,
sense?
Riot specific. Yeah. Well, Riot actually specifically, I believe, has said that abilities are generally not meant to kill players in this game.
And
And
yeah,
like you said, you can buy you have to actually spend resources to buy abilities. And I like to the reason why I hate the Counter Strike Overwatch comparison is because this game is nothing like Overwatch. It is very much like 90% Counter Strike
and we've
with
both played Overwatch a good number of
yeah,
hours. I've played
Counter
for
Strike 2 for
years.
that
Yeah.
matter.
So yeah.
Um, and I liken the abilities more to Counter Strike grenades in their utility. Like most of the abilities in the game are very similar to smokes, just different variations in how long they stay, where they go, where when you can use them, that sort of stuff. And each hero only actually gets one ability that they don't have to buy, so they have to buy everything else. And I guess their ultimate too, they don't have to buy, but they have to earn it.
Right. Right.
Um,
And so like it really is just like I said, you're using them strategically, and you have to preface all of this with because it is like Counter Strike, and I've even seen people in the Apex community saying like it's going to take a lot of people away from Apex, and I'm like this is nothing like a battle royale either. The
no,
tactics, the
yeah.
movement, in my opinion, it even looks slightly slower than Counter Strike. You're moving a little bit slower, in my opinion, but the time to kill
Uh,
is the same. Like you get
yeah.
three, 4 shots max, and someone's gonna be dead. Like it don't
Yeah,
matter.
I would say the movement speed with a gun out is probably a little bit slower than Counter Strike. With a knife, it's probably about the same, maybe even a little faster.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see a lot of
Um,
people knife bunny
yeah.
hopping or just using that to get around for the most part. But what I did like too is a lot of during the firefights, you know you can hear other footsteps from the enemies, and I really like
Oh,
how when people hear that or to not have their footsteps heard, they're actually walking a lot. Like I see a lot of people
oh
walking.
yeah. I walk way more than I run in that game. Because so it's weird because the audio in that game is more of a sphere of a complete sphere, and it
Hmm.
walls don't seem to really affect what you can hear, which is I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of, honestly, because you can hear stuff across a wall that is effectively on the other side of the map. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
as far as what you need to know and not. Um and so you can hear a bunch of stuff that you don't know if you need to know. Um and it kind of dilutes the information that you have, and it gets really
Mm.
weird when there's a bunch of
And there's
enemies
multiple.
in
You
like
just hear
one area, and you just hear people walking all around you. It's like it's like there's a bunch of aliens coming to kill you in the spaceship or something. um but yeah, but it's a definitely a move in the right direction when it comes to like audio, which Counter Strike has that too, but it's Counter
Mm.
Strike's a little more localized.
So what
Uh,
I kind of want to ask you is like if you could just give me like a run through of a match for you, just like or just like a memory, like a story you have, like you thought this was like a cool little episode you could share on or something. I don't know, just like I don't
right.
know, what was your first experience with Valorant, and then maybe like a cool moment of when you knew like okay, this game is pretty cool or something like that.
So I actually first started in the closed alpha about a month before the closed beta started.
Okay,
Um, and the thing about the closed alpha is that was basically right employees who are interested in the game and their friends and family, right?
right, right,
And and everybody that was interested in that game basically came straight from Counter Strike. Either they're on the Valorant team or they're big Counter Strike fans. And so the density of people who are good at this game was insane.
mm-hmm.
And there was very little matchmaking going on uh in there. And so it was really hard for me as someone who's hasn't seriously played Counter Strike in years,
Right.
um to handle these players who were just headshotting you around the corner all the time.
Right.
Which I actually think the time to kill is a little
Is it
high
too?
in
Is it too
in
fast?
Valorant.
I was kind of wondering.
I think it's slightly too fast. But this is coming from someone who's worse at the game, right?
Hmm.
However, with the closed beta, people are not quite as good, thankfully.
We have like a different,
So
we have a lot of different people coming in. People who
yeah,
are just curious
exactly.
and maybe not as good at that Counter Strike game level. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Round out
But
players.
more specifically, they're not as good. But more specifically, they're closer to my level of play, right? So that makes for better matches.
Right. Right.
Um, as far as how even they are, and there isn't just one guy with 20 kills and everybody else has none. Which can happen sometimes. But so like I remember when I first booted up the game
Hmm.
and got into a game, and they give you their first weapon, and I was like, oh my god, this game is Counter Strike, because the first weapon they give you is straight up the terrorist Glock, from
Get that
Counter-Strike.
Glock. Get that good
All the way
old
down to
G5
the
or whatever.
3-shot secondary fire.
I mean, like it's unashamedly like, hey, we're not
Yeah.
hiding
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah, so that was like the first thing I noticed, and so that actually helped me as someone who has played Counter-Strike get into the groove of the game.
Okay.
Because like their first round's a pistol round, where you either stick
The
with your
second round
regular
is
Glock.
like armor round, buy your armor and
Exactly, it's
grenades or
armor
something
round,
like that.
and it's either so yeah, first round's a pistol round, and if you win that, then you go armor and either a sub or light armor and a machine gun.
Right.
Or if you lost, you probably do another econ round where you just get a pistol and maybe get a machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
And so the game flow as far as that's concerned is basically just Counter-Strike. Everybody chooses or the attacking team, the team with the spike, figures out which area they want to attack, and sometimes they'll send a couple people to a different site for distraction or maybe to snipe someone out early.
I was gonna say there's
Sorry?
how many people per team? Is it 5 or 6 or 5?
It's 5. Oh my god, I can't.
I think it's 5. Just
5,
so people know. Okay, cool. Continue.
Yeah. So yeah, there for the attacking team there will usually be three people at we'll go in one direction site. 1 or 2 people going at the same site in another direction. Maybe one other person being a distraction or a sniper at a third site.
Okay.
And then the defending team, what they'll usually do starting off is they'll spread out. Usually 2 for the maps that have 3 sites, it'll be like 2-2-1. Or for the maps with 2 sites, it'll be 3-2, depending on which side needs a little more defense.
Okay. And
then you can basically before the round starts, everybody has access to effectively half the map. And then with a kind of a no man's land in the middle that you can't go into yet. And the round starts, everything's unlocked, and you start. And so the game is very slow and methodical at the beginning. Usually one team will drop smokes at choke points. Defending team will drop them to prevent advancement on that area, or offensive team will drop them to hide a vulnerable area and to move along. And so yeah, the match basically proceeds from there in a slow way where there's usually like 1 or 2 picks at the very beginning, and then from there people are testing the waters, trying to get reveals in area. Trying to see people in area, maybe pick it a pick.
I was gonna say some of the abilities actually do help out with that. I think there's like a camera guy with the camera ability or something like.
Yeah, so that's Hawk. His primary ability is a bow that shoots a sensor that can reveal locations of enemies.
I gotta say it. He's Hawkeye. He's a Hawkeye. Get it?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, continue. So bad.
Yeah, he's a sniper, and his ultimate is a ability that snipes through walls.
Dang, that's actually pretty cool.
And so that's the second change to Counter-Strike. One is the expansion of the smokes, right? And the second change is the abilities that gather information, scouting abilities, basically, like this location sensor that with the bow and arrow, or the drone, like you said, that's another ability that he has.
And there's also one I saw, like I think it's like the flame guy. I don't know his name, but like he can like.
Oh, that's Phoenix. He's who I play.
That's why he I guess he can pre-scout or something. Like he just goes out of body and then goes for X amount of seconds.
That's Phoenix's ultimate, where basically what he'll do is he'll ultimate, and then he can move around as he plays. I shouldn't say that. It basically gives him a second life, more within a certain time frame. So exactly. So if you go out and you die during that, you basically get teleported back to where you activate the ultimate, and you continue on.
Because I've seen people use that like at the beginning of the round to check to see if someone is at a point. Like
there are multiple uses for it.
Right?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll use it near the beginning to scout. Yeah, exactly as you said, as a scout and maybe get a pick. Other times I'll use it when I'm on the defensive, when like the enemy team planted the spike and I need to advance into an area. I'll use it to get a couple picks before I actually go into myself.
Okay.
Stuff like that. And Phoenix also is a good thing what guy to talk about, because he also has flashbangs from Counter-Strike, basically. Where that blind the enemies. And he's one of the few guys in the game that actually don't have any smokes at all. He has his flashbang, he has zone control things with his fire, as well as a firewall. And on top of that, all his fire abilities heal him as well, which is pretty cool.
Okay. which is pretty cool. Is there a hero you're playing right now specifically, or
Phoenix is the main one. I played a little bit of Hawk,
okay,
the guy with the bow and arrow.
the bow and arrow?
Yeah, and I've tried I can't remember the guy's name, but he's a guy that has a bunch of like seismic abilities.
Oh man,
And
that
I
seems
am
very pretty
terrible with
cool.
him.
Is there
Uh,
a hero that you seem like a lot of the other team are using? And another question is, since it is like a hero kind of pick based game, and I don't know
mhm.
how many heroes there are right now, but to with Riot in terms of League of Legends, there's like a pick ban kind of thing. Do you think that that's going to come into play in the future, or is it still this kind of like potential mirror matches
um,
going to happen?
I don't think the hero you pick is important enough to need a pick and ban, at least not yet.
Okay.
Obviously the ones you pick do change things up a bit. Viper has some amazing zone control abilities.
Hmm.
Uh, where like she has a wall that you place once and you can reactivate multiple times. And well, more
What
specifically, all of her abilities are have a work on one gauge, which is like her poison gauge or something like that.
the heck?
Where she has a smoke that she can place and pick up and place again, and she can activate that, or she can activate her wall,
Is
and
that
all
the
those run off the same gauge.
I was gonna say, is that the character that has like because there's a
It's
couple
with the
wall
mask
like
on.
abilities, but is her wall like green and purplish or something like that?
No,
That's a different
it's
character.
green. Yes.
Okay, it's green.
Uh,
Okay, okay,
yeah, yeah.
okay.
All her abilities are like vibrant green, and she also has like the coolest ult where it's this gigantic smoke cloud, that that like kind of enemies are like bright red inside of it, and it's really hard for the
Oh,
enemies to see. It's an incredibly good ability for like high if you're going to invade a planted spike, or if you're planting
right,
the
right.
spike and you're trying to defend, it is incredibly good for that.
I will say it
Um,
does like the hero abilities themselves are. I mean, they do sound really cool and interesting to me.
mhm,
Um, so like I said, I've been trying to get into the game in terms of watching it, and
yeah.
the only one thing that I do kind of dislike, and it's probably part of Counter Strike. I haven't played Counter Strike in a long time, but um, when it's finally down to 1v1 or something, or 2v1,
Hmm.
whatever, but there's someone who's at the spike, right? They've already planted and they're guarding it
Right.
essentially. There's like, I really hate the whole like camper thing, but I understand like you're
I
not just
mean,
gonna
the
run out and do
it,
something. You got three hits to die basically. So,
yeah.
um,
I mean, if you don't like camping, Counter Strike, or excuse me, Valorant, is not the game for you. Honestly, it's very slow. Camping, especially on the defense, whether it be the defending team or post planting a spike, that's what you do is you camp and you wait.
right, right.
It's stupid to do anything else. Like it's quite often you'll see after you plant the spike, people just
Yeah,
go out
you
and roam looking for the enemies, and you're like, no, don't do that.
yeah, you
After you plant the
just stay put.
spike,
Just stay put and
af-
guard it. Get
exactly,
different
it's a
angles.
waiting game at that point. You're or not even a waiting game. You're trying to
It's a defending.
um you're trying to purposely stretch out the time everything going on. That's why
Right.
when you see people plant the spike, you'll see them throw out zone controlling abilities,
Hmm. Hmm.
just to slow things down. You're not trying to kill, you're trying to slow the game down and wait as long as possible until the spike
Until it
explodes.
explodes. Because like at the end of the day,
Right.
like it still takes time to diffuse the spike. So if you can
Exactly.
even get them to the last second, you can hold them down there, and even if you die, you still have a chance to win the round.
Exactly.
So it is like you do have to think, and it's going to be fun to see how, like once this thing finally comes out of beta. And I mean, it's not like it's been in beta a long time. It's been like less than a week. But I think the release right now is sometime in summer, is what I saw. Like maybe like a
Yeah, it's
no
that's
hard
probably
release
right.
date, but somewhere in summer when I looked on their website. And if you want to try to get into the closed beta right now, you can just go on Twitch and watch Valorant streams. Make sure that those streams do have the drop enabled, and they'll have it in their title like drops enabled.
Right.
And this has actually been kind of like a small issue. They haven't had enough server space. I mean, there's a lot of people playing, but the drops are at random. Some people are saying like, yeah, I watched for like 24 hours to 48 hours or forever, and I finally got a drop or whatever. It's just know it is random. Your name is put on a list, and you are chosen at random, so you don't have to watch 24 hours straight. In
Right.
fact,
You just need to watch
watch,
2 hours, I believe, is what it is.
yeah, and just go
And the more you watch, there it does increase your chances, I believe, but with
mhm,
decreasing effectiveness.
effectiveness. Yeah,
Um, so basically, minimum just watch 2 hours with your Twitch Riot account attached to your Twitch account,
yep, yep,
and then hope for the best after that.
pretty much. And I think there's two ways that drops work. I've never actually done drops, or I mean, gotten
Mhm.
drops. So I think like you have to either be there at the time to receive a drop, or they'll just email it to you. One of the two
Yeah,
is what I kind of heard.
You get well, I got a drop when Legends of Runeterra came out, another Riot game, go figure. Um, and which actually that technically released before Valorant, so I guess that's technically the full first
Non.
non well, that's still League of Legends IP. This is the first non League of Legends IP game, I guess.
Mm.
But anyways, when I got that through the Twitch drops, and I did get an email notification, but it was through Twitch, and I got everything through Twitch.
Okay.
I had to go on the website and click the thing or whatever.
Get your notifications and then check all that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to check it out, like definitely. I mean, half the world's probably checking. Not half the world, but a lot of people are definitely watching Valorant right now, and it's the hot pick of the week.
That's right.
Hot pick of the week. But so continuing the Riot kind of flow here, Anthony, I think you've also been playing a little bit of TFT, team. I always want to call it Team Fortress Tactics. Goodness gracious.
Fight Tactics.
Team Fight Tactics. Yeah, they had a new.
They should make a
season
big Fortress
started?
game though, like a tower defense game. That'd be cool.
A TF, like a TF tower defense. Oh my goodness, too many
TD,
T's and F's here. There's too many. There's too many TFs here. But they just had I guess a new expansion come out or
yeah.
season?
So they had a new set is what they call it.
Okay.
TFT Galaxies, where they swap out all the characters with new ones for the most part, and new classes and new abilities and stuff. And it's actually really cool. I like this a lot better than the previous one, which was Elements or something like that.
Okay.
And I think Riot has learned a lot about balance and figuring out how to make more things viable. Because before, especially with the first set and a little bit with the second set, it was always better to go a certain setup, which is weirdly awkward for a game that heavily relies on randomness in who you get, right?
And I guess we should preface. I can't say it. We should say that. There we go. It's a game where it's a match 3, but just think of was it auto chess? Is that the
auto chess? Yeah,
auto chess. Yeah. So you got a match 3 to make bigger, better versions of your current hero, and then it's on like a chess grid board kind of thing, and you're attacking.
Exactly.
So it's they're attacking. You're not really attacking. It's random rounds.
It's auto battled. Auto battle. That's actually the genre, right? Auto
battle.
And so I think it's a lot more balanced, and the high cost units in this game are really cool, and they also add a few little fun things in the mix where you go to like different like universes because it's all space themed.
That's
that
cool.
have different like effects going on. Like there's one that gives you a high cost unit at the very beginning of the game, which is really cool. Or there's another one that gives you more health, and there's one that gives you the ability to basically gives you 2 free wild cards, which is really awesome.
That's pretty cool. Wow, because I played the first set, just like a couple of games, maybe 10 games or something or less, on my very horrible MacBook Air. But I had a lot of fun. I did like how that random element of the kind of auto chess, like you don't know what you're getting on your first hand, and you can re-roll, and you can there's certain ways you can try to I don't know, get a better hero if you want to at a certain cost. But it was really fun that even though I wasn't really attached to any of the other Riot stuff, this felt fresh to me, fresh enough I could hop in and go in. And what you said now is that everything is completely, all the characters are completely different. So I think having that kind of tactic of where even if I didn't play the previous seasons or the previous sets in this case, I can still hop back in and then feel like I'm still learning while everyone else is learning. It's not like I'm at ground zero completely. And it's not like everyone else is at ground zero, but it does feel fair kind of. And that's what's kind of cool. And it kind of makes me want to hop back into it, actually.
Another thing is they released the mobile app too, so you can play on your phone now, which is awesome.
Oh, that's right. And it's crossplay too, I think, right?
Yes, exactly.
Mobile
and it's actually
PC?
kind of annoying because it logs you out of League of Legends on their PC when you do that.
So you have to log in. So you need to log in each time you play on a different platform, mobile or PC.
I mean, it will. I think it auto logs you in onto the phone, but it will log you out of the PC when you do that. Because TFT is still technically League of Legends,
right?
As far as how they set it up, so you can't be logged in 2 places at once, which is annoying because I can be on Valorant and League at the same time, or Legends Runeterra in League at the same time. I can't do TFT in League, which is really annoying when you're waiting for like Clash, which is their tournament structure. Their
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
when you're like there's a lot of waiting in Clash, so you maybe want to do a TFT game while you wait. Can't do that.
Hmm. That would be kind of fun. Like I was thinking about doing like a kind of like a YouTube series on TFT,
Mhm.
like just me and I guess like playing with you and like some other friends, just because like I literally am like, what's happening? What is going? I don't think I'll be able to do it as much as I did that first time playing on MacBook Air. I
Right.
was just like, the world is so new. I'm like a newborn.
Yeah,
Everything it
that'd
scares
be
me.
fun. It'd be cool to get like a bunch of us. I don't know
It
if we
would
can
be.
do like a full 10 stack, but or
Oh, that would be
eight people
cool.
or whatever. But
Oh,
that'd be
dude,
really fun. Yeah.
that would be awesome. That would be awesome. And speaking of another awesome game, before we close out the gaming segment here, you've been playing Doom Eternal, or actually you finished
Yes.
Doom Eternal.
I finished
Uh,
Doom. I'm actually in the middle of platinuming it right now.
the heck? I
Yeah.
mean, it's a good game to platinum. I gotta say, if I didn't have to do the multiplayer stuff in the previous Doom, like 2016,
So
I would have platinumed it.
exactly. Yeah. So the reason why I didn't platinum 2016 was because first of all you need to do snap map stuff, which I didn't want to mess with at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and there are multiplayer stuff, which seems, and this one has multiplayer stuff too, but it's a lot simpler.
Mm,
I
mm.
actually just finished the hardest one, which was kill a demon with every Doomslayer weapon, um, which doesn't sound that hard. The problem is like some of the weapons are just not very good. Like the regular shotgun is just not very good in online mode.
Oh
So you
man.
have to like purposely get a demon really low, then finish them off the weapon. And on top of that, you have to do it with all 8 Slayer weapons. And the eighth one is the BFG, which you
Oh,
can
is
only
that's
get past the third round of the game. And you have to
so you have to
kill
be
an
kind of
enemy with it.
what?
Yeah, so you have to kill him with it.
Oh, you
And the
can't just like
BFG,
yeah.
nah. But and the trick is that the BFG doesn't deal damage to player demons unless it hits them direct.
Right, right. It usually just like even in like in the game, like it will basically make everything glory killable or
No, no,
kill
in the
some
game it
things,
kills
right?
everything.
It kills
It kills
everything?
everything.
Okay,
It
okay.
kills almost. I mean, almost everything. It
I
doesn't
mean, I would
kill
miss
like
some shots with the
the
BFG
super big
sometimes,
ones.
so I need
Oh,
a
there have
wall.
been times where I
I can
actually
hit the
shoot it
wall
into a
instead.
wall. Yeah, or when you occasionally actually hit an enemy with it when you don't
Yeah,
want to do that, because hitting an enemy immediately disperses it, right?
yeah,
But you
right,
want it to
right.
travel through the room usually.
You're like, no, keep
And I've done
going.
that many.
Hit that big thing. Hit the big thing, not the small one, not the small thing.
Exactly. I've
But yeah,
hit several small demons with it.
what's your take on Doom 2016? Not 2016, but Doom Eternal. Like,
To
how
Eternal.
did you enjoy it? What mode did you play it on? And I don't know, just anything you want to say about it.
Yeah, so I played it on Ultra Violence, which is one below Nightmare. It's basically the hard mode.
Okay, okay.
Um, and yeah, I thought it was really awesome. I have some issues with the design changes they made between this and Doom 2016. Some were for the better, some were just too much.
Okay.
For instance, I feel like specifically talking about gameplay or
Hmm.
the mechanics in the game is they went a little overboard with the upgrades and how they work and what things can upgrade what and stuff like that. If
Yeah,
I mean, it's been a while since I played 2016, but if remember 2016 had basically like 2 resources or so for upgrading your weapons and suit and stuff.
yeah. I think you
Actually,
just upgraded the suit. You upgraded your guns, and the guns had like two little, two abilities
yeah,
each that you could
they,
upgrade.
they they had 2 mods, and then you could if you could do certain tasks to complete the mod basically.
Yeah, which was
Get
kind
a
of
little bonus
fun.
for it.
I kind of
Yeah,
like I like those.
so I like that, and it was simple and straightforward. In fact, now that I think about it, I believe there was only actually one resource you could spend for on the mods. I believe is what it was. I don't
Right. I
think
think
the suit actually spent the resource, or either that or it was the same resource. I can't remember.
there's one that
Um,
it did share the same resource, but I can't remember what it was.
yeah.
Or maybe it wasn't. I don't
Uh,
know. It was. I mean,
it
it
was
was
like it was
fairly
like
easy to
Praetor
kind of
suit or
do
Praetor
everything.
something or other.
Right. Right.
Um, but anyways, the point is that Doom Eternal has what is it? It has the weapon token, the weapon resource. I forgot what it is off the top of my head. It has the suit resource. It has Sentinel batteries. It has mastery tokens, and I'm sure it has something else I can't think of off the top of my head. I mean, it also has XP for the multiplayer stuff or the skins and all that sort of thing. So
Wow.
it adds all these different resources, each handling a specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I just wish they didn't do that. um, like either keep one resource that can be used everywhere, or or not have all
not
those
have
resources.
as many. I mean, like, because I
Exactly.
think like when I've looked at some of the streams of Doom Eternal, it's like everything has gotten. I wouldn't even say it's gotten bigger, but it's definitely they've expanded
Well,
a lot of
it's
the
gotten more.
more.
That's the issue I
It's
had. It
more.
got more.
They
Yeah.
went the Eternal route of more. Like, and I mean,
Yeah.
like, I will say though, it does look fun to play, and I'm definitely gonna pick it up.
Oh, it is fun to play. They go a little overboard with teaching you how you're supposed to play, because I'm sure you've heard these complaints about like resource management and all that stuff early in the game.
Okay.
And it does get fixed as more as you play the game, but they make the early game incredibly unfun because of how often because you're trying to switch from this 2016 mode to this Doom Eternal mode. And it's a very rough transition. 2016, you had all the ammo you needed. You never really needed to use the chainsaw, and on top of that, the resource on how it was handled was different.
Right.
You basically had to pick up gas to use the chainsaw at all.
Mm-hmm.
Where in Doom Eternal, the chainsaw is a core part of the gameplay loop.
Okay.
Where first of all, it auto regenerates a single use every once in a while.
Okay.
And on top of that, you are getting lower ammo counts. And certain weapons work better against certain enemies.
Because the chainsaw, it
Mhm.
refills all of your ammo, if I
It
remember
refills all
right.
the ammo, exactly. Yeah,
Which,
right.
like, it was my last resort, kind of.
Yeah,
Oh man, I'm about to die.
rarely
Like,
used it
I
in
need to use because
2016.
I mean, it was almost like an auto kill too. Like, if I remember, like whatever you
Yes.
chainsawed, it died, and so it's like, okay, I need stuff. I'm about to die. Chainsaw.
Depending on how much ammo you had, and this mechanic's still the same. Depending on how much ammo you had for your chainsaw, you could kill certain types of enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still like that. It's just harder to kill the bigger enemies now.
Okay.
Because you only regenerate one of 3 pips, or one of 3 ammo slots.
Right.
And so you have to pick up the gas for the other 2 to get the big guys.
Man.
But you're not really supposed to be using on the big guys. You're supposed to the way the new game's supposed to work is you're supposed to constant moving. That's the same. Shooting the enemies with a weapon that works good against that enemy.
Okay.
And then when you're low on resources, chainsaw a fodder demon, as they call them. For the resource, or for life, or armor. That's another big change. Is you get a flamethrower, which when shooting an enemy that's been on fire will give you more armor.
Okay.
Which the original game didn't really have.
I mean, there wasn't a really flame.
There was a flamethrower. They had one like, suit upgrade that I think it was if you're at full health. No, there was something that gave you armor when you met certain conditions.
Okay.
In the original game, yeah, but that was a late game thing, and it was only in certain conditions. I think it was either when you're at full health you get armor when you glory kill or something like that. I can't remember.
But overall, it seems like you enjoyed the game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the game was incredibly fun. I wish they kept the entire thing in first person like they did 2016.
What the heck?
But
wait, is that a spoiler? What?
No, it's not a spoiler. In fact they start you off in third person.
Oh, okay. No, not
gameplay. Excuse me. I don't mean gameplay.
I was like, it's like you go to like third person shooter land. I'm like, whoa, what?
Not that much of a departure. No. I meant for like all the story beats and stuff. They actually take you out of the suit, and I don't mind the story of Eternal. It gets a little stupid at points, but I mean,
I was trying
and this is coming from someone who really enjoyed 2016 story.
2016 was pretty much like, rampant the AI, right? It's like you think it's the doctor, and then it's the AI, and you're like, what?
Well,
and
it's actually a lot more complicated than that. But loosely, yes, it's you were basically in a tomb in hell, and Dr. Hayden and Olivia, whatever her name was, recover you, and you wake up, and hell is taking over because they open a portal to hell to get you, more or less.
Right.
Kind of their own fault. And well, it wasn't to get you, it was to extract hell energy. And you're like, what the hell are you guys doing? I'm gonna kill everything. Yeah. And that's basically there's the loose part of the story, but there's also a lot of lore. Like if you remember in 2016, you when you're in hell, you get all these like you can get these lore stone things that where a demon will tell you this epic story, basically how you got entombed.
I gotta be honest, I tuned some of those out. I don't know.
You should actually listen to them. They're really cool. And
is there a way to go back and listen to them though? Like just
if you collected them,
remember?
If you collect them, you can just go to the menu, and they're all in the menu.
Okay.
I think you can listen to the menu. I can't remember. But they're actually really cool, and they're fun to listen to, and it's cool to speculate about like what happened that got you into the Entombed in the first place. And then Doom Eternal continues from a little bit after 2016 and takes place on Earth. But they also, for better or for worse, in some cases better, in some cases worse, they take basically that demon lore and because the demon lore is from the demon's angle. But then they basically tell you that lore from a different perspective, and it gives you this weird, this interesting, like you learn some new things. It gives you this different like understanding of like who you are and what things happen. In some cases, they go a little overboard in explaining Doom Guy. And in other cases, it's actually like, oh shit, that's what they meant.
It's okay,
in 2016.
The Doom Slayer is a wonderful thing. I should say that we are this podcast is being recorded on Easter Day, so happy Easter, everyone. This is when the Doom Slayer went down.
Happy Easter, yeah. When the Doom Slayer was resurrected from his.
Oh man, like we had some good time, some good fun with that on the last podcast. But yeah, we're gonna close this part of the podcast out, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about some DualSense and my unforgiving. Oh, please, everyone, forgive me for my horrible thing about GDC. Anthony will straighten me out a little bit, and then some anime because we got Animu. Okay. Anyways, we're gonna be back after the break.
Hey, Adrian, never thought about making a podcast?
All the time, except for we are already making a podcast.
No, but I mean like a different one, maybe a better one.
Sure.
Yeah. So I was on the internet. I was trying to figure out like what's the best host for a podcast, or pretty much how can I make a podcast, and I think I settled on Anchor.
We're already using Anchor, buddy.
Wait, are you serious? Are we actually?
I'm actually serious because it's free, and of course we're on like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and like Google Podcasts, and so many other places.
Wait, how did we do that though?
Anchor did that for us.
Oh, just like automatically, right? Anchor will just distribute your podcast for like free?
Exactly. Wait, I thought you did the research.
Yeah, well, I kind of did, but I do know that Anchor will help you make money from a podcast. Cash money.
Cash money grabs. Exactly. That's how we're making money right now, I think.
Absolutely. Like right at this very moment.
At this very moment with this sponsorship.
Well, I mean, also Anchor has some pretty cool creation tools that let you record and also edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer, because I know you got one of those, probably.
I do have a computer, but I don't have a phone.
Well, whatever. You can still make a podcast, because in 2020, there's no reason why anyone shouldn't have a podcast.
Everyone deserves a voice. That's my opinion.
Yeah. Well, Anchor is just everything you need to make a podcast, but just all in one place. You can download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Enjoy the show, everyone. Thanks for listening. And welcome back, everyone. Hope that you had a great little break. If you're coming back from some coffee, or if you took a break at, I don't know, you watch some TV or something and you're coming back. Welcome back. We're here.
It was a good break.
It was a good break. I personally did some laundry.
Oh, wow.
It's the magic of editing. I did laundry in between this. But no, me and Anthony, we're going to talk about this DualSense controller because earlier last week, after the podcast, I think it was even like a day after we recorded, me and Alex.
Yeah, it was like, right after, yeah.
Right after.
It was right before you released it, yeah.
And we're like, oh, snap. What is this on the internet? Sony has unveiled the new PlayStation 5 controller called the DualSense because it's amazing design-wise and everything. I mean, okay, so let's break it down what this new controller does first, based off the looks, and then we'll go aesthetically, and then we'll go into like what it actually does. So first of all, what did you think of the look of the controller, the design?
So I'm gonna start with the colors. I think the colors are really nice.
The white and black kind of.
The white and black, and the little blue glow they have, which it won't always be blue because that's
which someone pointed out. It's like, is this just crap? I forgot the Quantic Dream game that it really does remind you of aesthetically. Crap.
Oh, I have it right over here. Become Human.
Yeah, become human, Detroit. There we go. It does have a very
actually,
sterile.
yeah.
Has a very sterile feeling to it, but it does look like it was meant for that.
You're right.
for
All
that
the
game.
androids were in that white and blue outfit, right?
White, blue, yeah, and then some black on
Yeah.
it. But yeah, what
So
else did
like
you-
I like the colors. The only thing is I agree with a lot of people. I'm sure you've read this on the internet, but I agree with a lot of them. That I wish the buttons were colored.
I
I don't know why they aren't.
I actually like the buttons. So I have two things that I want to say about the buttons. Number one, I actually like that they're clear. If you remember the original PSP, they are those like clear
Yeah.
buttons. The only thing I am wondering, and especially with that D-pad, when I look at it, I'm wondering if it's similar to the PSP D-pad, if the buttons are going to be clicky or not. Because looking at this controller, the buttons do not look clicky. Not that PlayStation buttons are clicky, but like the PSP button, like the D-pad, is very mushy.
I honestly, it just looks like a regular PlayStation D-pad, so I assume it's gonna be more the same as. Like, I got a feeling this is gonna feel a lot like a DualShock 3, just with maybe a little more filling on the edges, right?
Okay, I kind of want, like, I want them to raise the D-pad a little bit more, just in case you're playing fighting games, or I don't know, like I like the D-pad to be a little bit more firm.
That's actually interesting because one thing that they got rid of with this one is they got rid of the flat faces for the buttons, the D-pad and the face buttons, because it be like I have a DualShock 3 right in front of me. Basically, since the original PlayStation controller, they've flattened the face where the buttons start, like a little circular disc almost. And this, they didn't do that. It's smooth throughout. And I wonder if that's gonna give the buttons a little more depth to them, instead of like having this raised flat surface.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't know exactly what it is, but like it just looks like fuller, like it's more rounded along the sides, I think is a way of putting it.
Yeah, and I wish we had some way maybe like a DualShock 3 to compare it to, like next to each other, because it's hard to tell if it actually is bigger. Because one of the things people are saying is it looks like an Xbox controller, right?
Yeah, it definitely
and
has
so,
like a feel of it.
Yeah, and though honestly, personally, again, I wish we had more pictures, more angles, because from what I can tell, it's really just the front face that looks very much like a Xbox One controller specifically.
Yeah.
And the other, like the side angle that they have, looks still a lot like a DualShock.
A DualShock 4. It really does.
Yeah.
Like the side angle, like a 3/4 view or whatever. It definitely looks. It looks like normal. I mean, it still does look a little puffy, but that could be white too. Like white does make things a little bigger. But aesthetically, I think the internet has reacted pretty, not aesthetically, but yeah, the internet has had a really positive reaction to the look of the controller with so many different mock-ups. I mean, we posted this on Twitter, but I mean, there's so many different color schemes that they can do now, and I don't know if they're going to or allow people to customize. I mean, people would do it anyways.
That's interesting because one of my friends said that this controller looks like it's going to be really good for controller skins.
Really, I mean, like I love like one of it's just like, hey, do you want a Switch skin? And like they put like the Switch colors over it, and like it looks natural too. It doesn't look forced or anything, and it's like, oh, you got like your little Switch skin, and then like if you want to do like a Spider-Man design, like the way that you can actually do stuff on the touchpad now, because it is part of that non-dark colored surface. Like I don't know, there's so many different ways to customize it now.
Yeah, so that's actually kind of exciting. I never used the controller skin. Maybe I will for this one.
Like finally break down and be like, okay, I'm gonna replace this part of the control. I mean, like I would honestly, I think the all black is gonna look good. All white, just any of those colors
might what I get.
It's like, yeah, I got to get that number one, all black or all white. Hold down the base level, but on the inside of this controller, what exactly is going on?
Okay, well, there's a lot going on compared to user controller. The biggest new feature is the I forgot what they called them, but it's basically the resistance triggers. Where when you the idea is that the triggers will actually add resistance to you pressing them, so that when when maybe like firing a gun in the game or lifting something heavy, those triggers will add resistance, so they're harder to press, and so you actually and developers can change the how much this is applied, so that in different situations it could feel different. The game will actually feel different based on what you are doing. which is a really cool new feature that I'm hoping people make
A
good
lot of
use
people
of.
take advantage of. So here's the one thing I have a question about that, because I was trying to explain this, how kind of cool this was to my friend, and they just like were like, "Oh wait, isn't that the same as what we've had before? Like pressure resistant stuff? Like, isn't this the same?" I'm like, "No, like it's actually pushing back against you." But
Yeah.
then like it got me thinking, like, how much can that actually happen? Like there's going to be a small motor or something, I
Well,
assume,
that's the
doing this.
question, right? It's
So is it just me? Just the difference between me? Just like, can I? Like, is it going to really make a difference after a
I'm not
while?
sure. I haven't I haven't actually physically tried it myself. I'm assuming what's going to be is like low mode is going to be like your current PS3 controller, like with it
Mhm.
off, and then with it on, you're just gonna. I doubt it's going to be to the point where you're going to have trouble pressing the button, right?
That's what we want.
It's probably yeah.
That's like that. That's
It's
what we actually want, kind of.
that'd be great, but we would run out those motors in like the first day of using them. I
It's like
doubt
it's
we could
like
put a
people breaking buttons, and it's like,
yeah.
oh, the battery dies like in 30 minutes or something.
I think it's really going to be. It's just going to feel different.
Mm,
It's not actually necessarily going to be hard. It's just you're gonna notice the difference. Is the point, right? It's not going to be
right.
easy. It's going to be like, oh, this is a little harder than I was expecting.
Hmm,
Because
hmm.
you don't actually need to make it hard compared to normal, right? You just need to
Right.
make it different.
You just need to make
So
it
like
different.
exactly. So like if your normal game is just I don't know punching with L2 or R2 is without any resistance, and then like the example they use is drawing a bowstring, and they add just a little bit of resistance to that, not a lot.
Hmm.
That will probably be enough of a difference that one, you notice it, which is important to the feature, right?
Right.
And two, the fact that you notice it makes it you recognize that resistance with that action.
I think,
Um,
and I think what it is like when you bring up the example of drawing a bowstring back, before that would happen, like you would feel the rumble, the vibration in the controller, whereas
right.
now you're feeling it on the trigger, which is,
Yeah.
it's not your entire hand or palm holding this, so it's a little bit more, you can definitely tell that you need to either, when to let go or when
Hmm.
to, the I don't know. You can. It's a little bit more immersive, and I think that's what they're going for. And of course, the
Exactly.
touchpad is there. I don't know how they're going to use it this time, or if developers will. I mean, nothing.
About as much as last time, I assume.
It's just a big button, so
It's just a big
press
button,
the
which I
button,
mean, it was good for that. And
drop a map or something like that.
exactly, yeah. I didn't mind it. The touch features themselves. Actually, talking about Detroit. Detroit made good use of the touchpad. I would have to say,
Okay.
because it would use it as basically like as a we're talking about real feeling with the triggers feeling the difference like between no resistance and a little resistance, right?
Right.
In
Right.
Detroit, it used the touchpad to like actually be like swiping in the game. Like if you had like a digital magazine, you would swipe the pad to change page
Hmm.
on the magazine.
Okay.
So like honestly, this is basically where Sony's going with the PS5 in general. Is less about graphics and more about feeling the game through other uh
Me
senses.
senses, which
Uh
I think that's a good way of. I think that's a it's a pretty good.
yeah. And you could and this
Yeah.
controller is obviously trying to make the best, use of touch, right?
Right.
Through various means.
And so, like what you just brought up, and we'll get into the GDC thing a little bit later, or at least just clarifying it. I don't think we have to go into it, but you said like
Hmm.
it may be less about graphics and more about sense, or more about immersion. Which even with the controller, okay, we have the kind of haptics, the kind of feedback that we were talking about, and they also have the share button, which is now the create button. They're gonna
Right.
reveal more details about that later. But there's a built-in internal mic now, so you don't have to hook up any like external mic if you don't want to, and of course you still have the speaker, so there's still more, I guess there's easier ways to kind of draw you in if there's like a conversation that's happening right now. They know that everyone has a microphone on their controller, and if like the game is voice activated for some random reason, um hey, you can now speak.
Which I mean, Nintendo's or has done pretty fun little mini features with that in the past
Hmm.
with the DS, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
so I really am excited to see what Sony might try with their little microphone. And
So
even just for online games, it's nice that everybody automatically has a mic. That's really
has a
cool.
mic. Yeah, yeah. And
Now,
I
hopefully, the
think
quality is better than the little headphones jack was for the PS4,
the
which
little.
the headphone jack is here, the mono headphone jack.
Mm-hmm.
And it's here again. I don't know if it's still mono or not. It probably is, but hopefully, it's at least half decent quality.
Hopefully so. I mean, other than that though, it looks good. We'll have to see what happens in the future. I know people are still waiting for the console itself to be revealed. And speaking to that, we were talking a little bit about my misunderstanding of the GDC talk that happened. And like I said on the podcast, I went back and listened because my YouTube for some reason cut out the first 20 seconds, and that first 20 seconds is so important.
Oh yeah.
If you didn't understand it, then you were in the chat going with a bunch of Z's. But yeah, like after that talk, and I think this is a good example. This is what I wanted them to lead with. Like, this is the first information of PS5, right? This is
Right.
what people wanted. They just wanted something like this. It didn't even matter if it's just a controller. My friend was like, "It's just a controller. That sounds stupid." But the internet's like, "Oh my goodness, this is so awesome. This is what they wanted."
Well,
Instead, we got the
I actually
tech
feel
talk,
like
which was
yeah. Well,
yeah,
talking about that, I feel like the controller is actually a very important reveal, much more than what the console itself actually looks like. Because it actually affects how you interact with the game, especially when it comes to the features attached to the controller. So, like as you said, this is a big reveal, and you're right. That probably should have been before the TED Talk. Not TED. GDC talk.
It could have been a TED Talk.
Yeah.
Mark Cerny could like lullaby me to sleep. Like he kept talking. I was so surprised that this man didn't take a water break. He was just going
He's pretty impressive when
480.
yeah.
And it was a very soothing voice. I was like, oh, okay, like that's what people walked away with. They're like, yeah, he talked very well. I enjoyed the talk. I didn't know what he was talking about, but I thought it was a very soothing talk. Some of the comments I saw. But I don't know. Is there anything that you can like straighten out for some certain people if they're concerned about like, oh, PS5 versus Xbox or whatever teraflops or I don't know. Is there anything you want to clarify? Just like if you have the chance.
So we can talk about the teraflops. I mean, other people have gone into more detail than I'm going to hear about this, but first of all, raw teraflop numbers don't matter that much, especially when they're as close as they are on the Xbox and the PS5. I think it's only like
it's like two difference.
10
versus 12.
Yeah,
Wait,
exactly.
12 versus 14.
I think it's 10 versus 12. Off the top of my head, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's very close, right? And so you're not going to see much difference there. And even though both consoles are very similar hardware-wise, they're not exactly the same. And Sony and Microsoft have both taken different routes to improve various things, features about them. And this is also very important when comparing it to PC as well. Is that a lot of people don't seem to understand that the hardware for these games is constant and does not change generally. Unless we talk about PS Pro, but that's a whole different matter. And top of that, this hardware is made dedicated to making games, and there are decisions in putting it together that is for that. And so you're going to get a lot more out of your performance out of your system than you will with a PC computer that's way stronger. Simply because you're writing code specifically for it, which does matter a lot. You're using the entire system. You can't do that with a PC. And you know what you're working with. So yeah, long story short, as far as the graphics are concerned, they're effectively the same. 2 million teraflops or whatever it is not gonna matter when it comes to graphics. But as we said, Sony is not necessarily caring about the graphics this time. They are caring about a bunch of ancillary things.
I think they're coming off of their high. They're the high horse.
Yeah.
So like they're not worried about anything. I think they feel like they can take a little bit of risk.
Exactly. And one of the big features this time is audio. They are adding a bunch of and Mark Cerny talked about all this stuff. And they're adding
audio, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, whatever the fancy name for it is, I don't know.
Immersion through audio.
Immersion. One thing is they're trying to they've added they have a whole bunch of new audio features to it that allow better environmental audio. Where the water dripping actually sounds like it's water dripping in this room, in this house, into your 3D surround sound headphones or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've added a lot of features that really help with the immersion when it comes to audio. On top of that, Mark Cerny also talked about like the user, God, what was it called?
This is probably
Like
where I
how
went to sleep. The user.
Basically, the idea is the fact that everybody hears sounds differently, and there are certain like ranges of sounds and how and that people hear better than others.
Mm-hmm.
How like say someone who's musically inclined can hear all these little intonations and tones and little differences between music and just sound, right?
Right.
Whereas
right.
someone like me who I was not the best band member in high school, right? Or in
You
high
were a
school.
drummer. You were a drummer. You didn't have to listen much.
And I was not a great one.
You're good
And
at
so I
rhythm.
don't necessarily hear all those issues.
Okay.
Or not issues, but all those little
The tone
differences.
pitch changes.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so what they want to be able to do is to create a profile per person in how they hear, and so they can better
What?
modify the audio per person.
Okay, see, when you're explaining this to me, it sounds even cooler. So I'm like, oh, this is cool.
Yeah. Well, I'm obviously skipping a lot of details, right?
Yeah,
Mark Cerny
that's
went into details.
that's what I wanted. I wanted this.
Well, yeah.
I got you. Don't worry about it.
If I was, if G still happened and I was going to, I would have gone to that talk.
Yeah, this isn't the GDC talk. This is the people talk.
Exactly. So that's actually really cool. I don't know how well it'll go, but it's going to be really cool if they have like individual per person, audio profiles,
right?
That developers can tune to.
Mm-hmm.
And the other major feature is the fast loading, which was basically the first half of the talk, more or less.
The SSD tied into the GPU.
And I really do not think people really understand how big of a deal this is. I can't remember if it was Mark Cerny or someone else that told me this example, but imagine being able to like look in one direction and seeing stuff, and maybe doing something and having to load up, say, like a whole new town right behind you. It will be loaded by the time you turn around.
I think that was Mark Cerny. I think that was
so okay. That wasn't that thing. So so like that's how amazing it is.
The part I was awake for.
You like imagine like loading screens for a game right now that take say a minute. Right, that's going down to a couple of seconds,
which is pretty crazy. And I think what what wasn't conveyed was the fact it was the simple thing of people going like, oh, okay, like Microsoft they're using the MBE. I think I said that right. Whatever. Super fast.
Well, no, they're using the SSDs. So that's another problem that people didn't really understand from this talk. Is it's not just the fact that they're using SSDs, NVMe SSDs, which are basically those SSDs you plug straight into the board, which is cool.
They're super fast.
They're super fast, but that's not all it is. I mean I know about Microsoft stuff too, but I can't remember exactly the details of theirs. But basically Sony's is more than just a fast hard drive. Sorry, they also have hardware specifically for this as well. And so they basically have taken a bunch of bottlenecks of current loading, bottlenecks of current loading, and moved those choke points into hardware.
Because what it kind of seemed like is and I think the general thing that when you kind of put it all together is like Sony built this thing for gaming, of course, but they built everything in tune with each other. Like all the parts inside of it are attuned to each other.
Exactly. And so what ends up happening is, I mean, developers will have to change how they load stuff, and they'll have to account for this new system. But if they do and they do it right, it allows effectively loading is almost a thing of the past. And you know how currently we have like cutscenes to hide loading, or just straight up loading screens.
All I want is for the loading screen on Soul Calibur to be gone. That's all I want. I don't want no freaky looking like when they're loading in, they're like stuttering and stuff. Like nah.
And if Namco Bandai knows what they're doing, you can select your character and be in the fighting before you even know it.
That's the box quote, everybody. That's the box quote on PS5. If Namco Bandai knows what they're doing, you'll be in the fight as soon as you choose your character. So yeah, that's cool, and I'm looking forward to kind of like what they deal with PSVR in terms of like that audio thing that you were talking about, like how
That
much
sounds
that can
wonderful
open.
VR, right?
Yeah, all of this is like sounding like with VR, because I'm wondering what they're going to do with the controller. I think I talked to Alex about this. Like, will we still need these Move controllers? Can we be done with this?
So that's actually an interesting question because going back to the controller, the light bar is effectively gone. Like it's not fully gone, but it's basically just a highlight on the controller. However, the light bar actually served a purpose on the PS4 for the Move.
That's right.
It was basically how it detected where your controller was when you moved around, assuming you weren't using the drumsticks.
The drumsticks. The drumsticks. You weren't using the chicken drumsticks of the Move controller. Yeah.
So the question is, are they still sticking with the Move for the PS5? And if so, will you just not use a regular controller for that?
That's a good question. Like that's what I want to know. I think a lot of people are curious about the whole VR thing, but if you're right in what you were saying about how this console is going for sense and immersion, then that means that VR is still going to be a pillar for them that I think they'll try to push a little bit even harder. Then it kind of just, faded out. And I mean, like VR in general has kind of faded a little bit, except for, Half-Life Alyx. We haven't got much else.
I don't know. From my understanding, like sales-wise, the PSVR did surprisingly well.
Oh yeah, it did.
And the games for it were pretty good, and Sony was all in on it. And I don't have any proof, but I think they are very happy with it and would want to pursue it more.
Yeah. So, thinking of or not thinking of speaking or things I want to pursue now are anime. No, I have the worst transitions. Alex knows this. Every once in a while they'll work. Majority of the times they won't. But yeah,
the never-ending pursuits.
The never-ending pursuit of a better transition
of a better anime,
or a better anime. I just finished up. Oh no, I'm still looking at Oshiga Budokan Itetara Shinu, which is just if my favorite idol girl goes to Budokan, I'll die.
Oh,
which it's been comedically good. I've been enjoying it, and it's all based upon just like misconceptions and miscommunication, because like it's a small underground idol group, and they have like their like 20-30 fans, right? And it's not really about them going like trying to get better to go to Budokan or anything. It's just about this girl who has graduated from high school or college and should be looking for a job, but accidentally found this idol on doing a performance on the in a park, her in the group, and she was like, she's so beautiful, I like her. And the opposite thing is she becomes obsessed with her, but the opposite is the idol girl is like, okay, not obsessed, but she's obsessed with her well-being. And the thing is like she becomes her only fan. Like the idol girl, she's the girl in the group. She doesn't have any other fans but that girl. And she's very glad to have her as a fan, but they can never communicate how they feel about each other. They can never be like, oh, thank you for being my fan. And she's just like, you're so awesome. I really like you. I don't know what else to do. This is 5 seconds. Bye. And then the idol's like, I wanted to say something else to you, but I don't know because I'm too shy. And it's just that all the time. And so she'll be like, oh, I made her feel bad because she doesn't look like she enjoyed what I said. And then she's just like, but I did enjoy what you said. I wish you would say more. I don't know what else to do. So it's just that dynamic. That's what I've been enjoying. And that's pretty much finished. That's from last season. And I'm getting ready to start the new season. I don't know. What about you? What are you watching? What are you doing?
Well, I just finished up like Aizoken and Vinland Saga from the previous season. Or Vinland Saga might have been 2 seasons ago. I'm not sure.
Yeah, Vinland Saga was 2 seasons.
Yeah, I'm a little slow on that one.
I still need to get on it.
I actually was not that big of a fan.
What? That was like the anime.
I know, and I hate the fact that I don't like it that much. I don't hate it. It was a fine show. I hate the main character. He's terrible. He's just I don't want to talk into spoilers, but he just gets in this state, and he doesn't change much throughout. I'm like, why is he the main character? Aizuken though was pretty awesome. That's the new Yuasa show.
Right, which was from last season.
Yeah,
Aizoken.
So my Japanese is not up to snuff.
It's all good. I was like, Aizoken, what's
that? And that was actually really fun. I really loved the little drawing sequences they had where they're imagining the comic, and they would like go into the world that they're imagining and play around. It was really cool.
This was like a really like a lot of people, even in Japan, like it was on Twitter for a while. People love it's the opening, Easy Breezy.
Easy Breezy, yes.
Yeah, people
So
are
it's
like
funny
loving that
because
song.
you told me about Kelmeko, who did Easy Breezy like a
Yeah,
couple years ago at this point. And I was like, and I watched a couple songs, like, not really my thing. And then I like hear Easy Breezy, and I'm like, oh my god, who did this amazing song? And it's Kelmeko. I'm like, huh, they have changed a lot in these past 2 years.
so like I don't even know how to say like Kameko or whatever, but they do. So they do rap. So they do kind of like rap hip hop, but they also do this kind of like the Easy Breezy kind of song. And they do like an in between of that. So it's like they've changed their style a little bit, but they are still kind of like, what the heck? What do y'all?
Yeah. And the Easy Breezy still has some rap in it too.
Yeah, yeah. It's just two girls, but they have a lot of fun. I saw them on like a variety show last night, and they were actually talking about the music video and kind of like how they produced it, and how I guess they go about producing their own music videos. Because like I said, they're not really that big. Like that was probably the biggest thing that they've done.
Oh, they're probably gonna blow up after this, I would assume.
So we'll see where that goes for them. But yeah, it was a huge success. This show.
Mm-hmm. As for this season, I'm going to watch Tower of God, but I have not started yet. I need to do that. That's like the big one everybody's talking about right now, it seems.
This is it's one of the big ones that people are talking about, like you said, and we were like, so wait, what is this again? Because we had to look up some stuff. And we're like, okay, so it's a Korean web comic, manhwa, and then I didn't really look at the story per se. We were looking at like the studio who was doing it more so than anything.
I know ironically. I know there's like a literal tower that they have to climb, and I guess you get something at the top. I'm not sure, but all I know is like half of my friends are talking about it and are really excited for it. And I think the webcomic is like 100 chapters or something like that. It's pretty long.
I'm gonna say, so like just the summary off of the anychart.net. This is where I look at my stuff, but it's like Tower of God centers around a boy called 25th Bam, who has spent most of his life trapped beneath a vast and mysterious tower with only his close friend Rachel to keep him company. When Rachel enters the tower, Bam manages to open the door into it as well and faces challenges at each door of this tower as he tries to find his closest companion. So she's wandering in the tower, he's trying to find her, and I guess every door has a challenge similar to Mortal Kombat. Or what was it, Soul Calibur 4 that had that tower too?
That tower. That tower is so hard. Jesus, I never finished it because there's one point where you cannot touch the enemy unless you guard break them, and you only get like a small window to hit them. It's crazy.
Oh gosh. Anyway, so yeah, I think we're both gonna watch that. The first episode at least is out. And I think you were saying the first 6 episodes are out on like Netflix.
The first 6 episodes got a preview on in Japan on one of the streaming services. Yeah.
Okay, I missed it. Darn it.
Yeah.
So,
but besides that, I've also started the ultimate watch list meme anime. I figured this whole pandemic was the time to get to it, and that is Legend of the Galactic Heroes.
The first go around, not the
yes,
not
the original, versions. Not the 2010s one.
2010s, which it's still going. Like honestly, like the latest season was. The latest season was like what was it, like 2 seasons ago? They still had like another
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I figured, this is a show that everybody says is the best anime ever. And I'm all for some space opera, so I've started it. I am.
Yeah, what episode out of how many episodes are you?
So I watched the first movie, which is, I guess you could, not really a prequel, but more of an introduction.
Mm-hmm.
And I just finished episode 15 right before we started this cast.
Okay.
And so I'm not very far in at all. It's very much a slow burn, but the episode I just watched is like been my favorite episode so far. It was like one of the first like big truly like meaningful battles in the show, excuse me. Because like the previous episode, Legend of Galactic Heroes is basically a war between these two giant armies, and more specifically against these two opposing generals or admirals, since we're in space. And so the previous episode, one of the militaries was sending an invading force, but it was going into a trap. And so the trap was sprung at the very end of the episode. And then now the episode I just watched starts up, and it starts off with From the New World, the orchestra music.
Okay.
I can't say the dude's name, like Dvorak or something like that.
Mhm,
It's actually one of my favorite orchestral pieces, and it starts off with like dun 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 dun
gosh.
dun dun, and
you can already see the fight in your head after
yeah,
hearing
and
that
so
music,
like
you know.
and so the song is more about like adventure and or like to me it's like about adventure and stuff, but being used in this context, it's like an excellent song for a gigantic epic battle that's about to happen, that's happening, and it
man.
uses the song at various pieces of it throughout the entire episode. The part I just sung more or less was as I think it's a little bit in like the first movement and a little bit in the fourth, and well, primarily in the fourth. And it's just such an epic piece of music, and it just shows off this scale of what was going on, because there's like this gigantic invading force and this huge defending force that laid a trap, and things are just going on. And throughout the entire episode, there's all these tactical movements that are happening, and for the first time in the series, I actually understand what these tactical movements are doing, and the result of them, like who wins and who loses and stuff like that. And it's just it's going to be like a huge major change in the battle of the show going forward. And so if the rest of the show was like this one episode, I am all in, and I'm excited.
And right after this, the rest of the show turned out to be talking until like 15 episodes later. There's like 15 episodes later, it's going to have a little bit of action, and then 15 more episodes of
well, so it wasn't even about the action, right? Because like, I mean, it's a show from like the 70s or whatever, right? It's not like it's visually exciting, but it's about the movements and what the result of what's happening. And just how they just an excellent job of presenting it.
It's like all the younger people listening. You either sold them on this anime, or they're like, these old people, these old otakus.
These old epics, are remembered for a reason, and I think they provide a lot for like. Yes, it's very old, and especially this one, it's a space opera, right? Like I'm not trying to downplay the fact that there's a lot of talking and it's a lot of political maneuvering. But a lot of these old epics have a lot to say. If you want to watch all the shows, also the original Macross is an absolutely awesome show. Has some issues, but in the end, it was really amazing watch. All 100 or so episodes of it.
Hopefully, if we're lucky, Tower of God can ascend.
We'll see.
halfway to like the points of these. Better
and
shows.
It's kind of sad we don't really see these epic shows anymore. Like, sure, shonens go for hundreds of episodes, but
I mean, outside of shonen, you're not going to see a lot of long, and I mean, you don't even see a lot of original anime as much anymore. And so like whenever there's an original anime, I try to support it if I know and I like it. I'm like, you know what, I want to watch it. Like the one about the soft tennis, that was really well done in terms of a lot of the stuff there. It wasn't executed as well as it should have been in some areas, especially like. But it nailed the feeling of junior high school and this sport that they have here. But original anime, I wish there was more of it. And I will say though that movies overall have been getting better each year. I don't know what it is, but like movies have been like spot on. Like they've all been spot on. And this year we get the greatest of all time potentially, right? Right? Evangelion freaking 3 is coming.
Considering how people have been liking the last couple, it's the fourth one. Yeah, considering how the last ones were received, I'm not sure.
Oh, don't worry, it's just been forever.
The first two, and they were fine, but
I mean, it's I don't think anyone's holding too much stock in it. It's more the fact that it's coming out is the more the amazing thing than it's actually.
Yeah. And as someone in the U.S., it's awesome to be able to actually watch these movies. Like I remember a time where like I had to wait sometimes years to see movies, and now it's months in some cases,
which is it's really nice that it's and
seeing them in theaters on top of that, which is
and you're seeing them in theaters
blows my younger mind.
not bootlegging them and then watching them on a giant projector in a comic book. Not that we ever did that.
Nope, never.
I don't think we did. I don't. Maybe that is how we saw Death Note at Anime Club though. We saw Death Note.
That's how we saw Death Note. Yeah.
And we knew that no, this show is not for us because we finished reading the manga and we're like, all right, how are they going to turn this anime? And lo and behold, like people really did love that anime. I mean,
yeah. And you know what? They did an excellent job with the potato chip scene. What can I say?
Good. And we hope you're eating some good potato chips this season. I don't know. I'm out. I'm out. All I got is the only anime I am watching. I think I'm going to start up the Digimon.
Oh yeah, I need to watch that too.
Reboot, remake, whatever you want to call it.
Are you excited for that? Are you looking forord to it?
No, I mean I just want to see what's kind of different or see what's happening because, like I said, it's unclear. It's not a remake and it's not a reboot. It's a little bit of both. And it's set in 2020. Right. I don't know if 2020 is the only thing that makes it different or not. I really don't because it looks like it starts the same way. Kakushigoto, which seems like it could be kind of interesting from a comedy standpoint. Yesterday o Utate, which I don't actually know if I really want to watch, but I might just give it a shot. And listeners look like not Evangelion, but Eureka 7 and like Beck or something. But I don't
really know. Wait, what is this one?
Just go look up listeners, man. It looks like just look at the trailer and you're gonna go, what the fuck is this? Eureka 7 mixed with some musical anime? Like yeah, it
that does look like Eureka 7. Is it the same designer?
I have no clue. I was gonna try to look into it more, but I was like, you know what, let me try it. Yeah, kind of
like the art style alone makes me want to try it.
I mean, it starts out with like a 7th swell, essentially. I was like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
But I think that's all I'm kind of looking forward to this season. There are some bigger anime, of course. Me and Alex will be watching that Sword Art Online, and of course, Ghost in the Shell is back, which we can debate.
You know what? It is the original director and writer too, I think. So like content wise, it'll probably be great. I just wish TV, CG anime has a bunch of issues. Like full CG, mind you. I don't mind using CG. In fact, the original not the original, but SAC made heavy use of CG within it. But I feel like it's more of an art form to implement it than just simply saying we're going CG because we're cheap.
Right.
So like I have an issue with that, but hopefully, and you know what? And it's sad because like the character designs are actually really good. I like Major's new outfit and everything, her new look. It's much better than Arise. Her Arise look was very.
Arise, she was just on the street, man. She was just like, she might as well have been like the girl you found like on the street, like, hey, what's up? You want to go hang out tomorrow? I was like, oh yeah, sure, let's go. It's like my friend Motoko.
Yeah.
My cool, stylish friend Motoko. That's what she was in Arise.
But like the new one's designs are good and it has the original English casts rather than how Arise replaced a lot of them, which I wasn't very happy with. So I'm really excited for that as well. And so hopefully it'll be good. Maybe I just won't care about how crappy it looks. You just
gotta look past it. You gotta look past it.
Yeah. And I'm willing to that. If I can look past this new crappy CG, all of you can look past all these old 70s shows,
That's the deal. That's the bargain, everyone.
Exactly.
Next time we have Anthony on the podcast, it has to be a straight up like, so what do you think of Ghost in the Shell? And if it's good, then you have to hold up that end of the deal of watching some old space opera.
There we go.
Won't even say. But yeah, this has been a good episode. Thank you so much for being on the show. It's been a pleasure having you as well. And as always, everyone, you can check out the Unknown Games podcast on Twitter and Instagram at UGP_cast, as well as YouTube. You can look us up at just Unknown Games Podcast. And yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. We hope that you're all having a safe and as fun of a time as you can on the inside in the quarantine state of quarantine. And
thankfully video games and anime are great for that. So
exactly, it's a perfect not perfect time, but it's a good time to catch up on things, some media if you need to. Once again, thanks Anthony for being on the show, and remember, you set the tone. Go play some games, watch some anime, have some fun as much as you can, and we'll catch you next time on the Unknown Games podcast.
Have a great week, everybody.